Alright, good morning, guys. Today and tomorrow, we're going to be doing volumes of prisms and cylinders. And then Thursday, we're going to have a quiz over our volumes of prisms and cylinders. So we've only got one formula that we need to know. And it's going to be the rectangular prisms formula or the cylinders formula or any sort of volume of prisms and cylinders. This is going to be the area of the base and we're going to take that and multiply it by the height. So I always think of like chocolate chip cookies. If I'm going to stack those, here's my stack of chocolate chip cookies. And if I wanted to know the volume of cookies, well, I would take the area of one of these cookies, assuming they're all the same. I'm going to take the area of one of these cookies. I'm going to multiply it by how many cookies I have, or what's my height. And it doesn't matter, my stack of cookies could be all sorts of leaning over or mismatched or not perfectly aligned, but I'm still going to have the same exact volume or the same exact number of cookies. So the most important thing we can do every single time is identify what the base of our prism or cylinder is. And how you tell what the base is you've got to look for what are the two sides that are different from the rest of the sides. So in a cylinder, the two sides that are congruent, that are different from everything else, are those two circles. And everything else is a rectangle. Or in this trapezoidal prism, these two bases are different. These two bases are trapezoids, and everything else is a rectangle. So, in number one, we're going to see that these two shapes right here on the bottom and on the top are going to be my bases because those are both 4 by 5.1. And in number two, a little bit different, you could think about it as the bottom and the top are the bases. Sure, that would work for a rectangular prism. But I could also say that here's a base and here's a base. And I could say 7.5 is the height. And that's also a pretty valid argument. I could make a good case for that. So, very important to identify what your base is. And here's how we're going to do it. Once we've got our base and our height labeled, then we're going to do area of the base times the height. And this is going to be the area of the base would be 4 times 5.1 is 20.4 times my height of 9, which would get me 183.6 cubic centimeters. So the volume again is the area of the base times the height. And let's just say, for the sake of argument, that my blue shaded regions are the bases. Again, not always on the bottom. So the area of the base would be 4 times 2 is 8, and the height is 7.5. So the volume would be 60 cubic inches. Okay, now let's talk about, I'm going to identify this solid and the base. So here's my solid. It's a cylinder, not a polyhedron because it's got curved sides. Here's the base, these non-rectangular sides, if you have non-rectangular sides. So these circles are the bases. And the area of that circle with radius 9 is pi times r squared is 81 times pi. And the height is 6. So the volume would be, let's see, 8 times 6 is 48, 486 pi, which is, somewhere around 1460, somewhere around 1460 cubic feet. I'd like you guys to use a calculator when you do these. All right, for 5, let's identify the base. What are my non-rectangular sides? I've got 2 triangles here. So you've got to be very, very good at your areas of regular shapes. And you can always Google these, of course. So the area of a triangle, since this is a triangular prism, the area of that base of the triangle is going to be 1/2 of the base times height. So that's the area of a triangle, which is going to be 1/2, 3 times 4. So here's my triangle. 3 is the base, 4 is the height. Or you could do 4 times 3, doesn't matter. Which is going to be 6. So the area of my base is 6. And the height is 2. So volume equals 6 times 2 is going to be 12 cubic centimeters. And I'll fill the rest of these out here, and I will post the completed notes to the classroom, but I want to talk about 8. You've got to know your solid and the base. This is a pentagonal or pentagonal prism because these non-rectangular sides are pentagons. You can kind of see that here's a rectangle, here's a rectangle, here's a rectangle. And the area of the base is 1/2 apothem times perimeter. That's from last week. Which is going to be 1/2. The apothem is 6.88. And the perimeter is 50. So 25 times 6.88, 25 times almost 7, is going to be somewhere around 175. And I'm going to take this and multiply it by my height of 3. So the height is 3. Then my final volume is going to be 3 times 1/2 apothem perimeter. I'm going to put a video up here on how to find the apothem. And last but not least, I've got volume is 144. What's the height? Well, volume equals area of the base times height. So I'll plug in my known values. 144 equals the area of the base is 1/2 times 6 times 4 times height. So I'll simplify this. I'll say 144 equals 12h, and then I could just divide by 12 to get h equals 12 feet. So anytime you're given the volume, just plug that in. 72 equals the area of the base times the height, which is 6 times 4 is 24, so 72 equals 24 times the height, or 24h. And then if I divide by 24, h is 3 feet. So I'll post a video here on how to find the apothem length in a regular polygon again. And then once I've posted that, I hope you guys have a fantastic day. Feel free to email me with any questions you've got.